Hey friends, it's Corey from Hey Let's Make Stuff. I am once again surrounded by a whole bunch of sublimation projects because I wanted to give you an overview of how to press sublimation glitter blanks in today's video. Sublimation glitter blanks are a lot of fun. They add a little bit of sparkle to everything you're going to make. And today we're going to be making 5 different projects. When it comes to sublimation glitter blanks, there are sort of 2 categories. So the first is something like this, where you can actually feel the glitter surface, right? It feels a little bit rough. Thankfully, it doesn't get glitter everywhere, but you can actually feel it. The second category is something like this, which is more of a shimmery blank than a glitter blank. So the first project we're going to make are sublimation glitter earrings, and these are in that first category. They feel glittery. I got this in a pack off Amazon, and it had a bunch of different shapes, but I kind of like this sort of elongated sort of diamond teardrop shape, so we're going to make these today. Along with these, you're going to need some earring findings. They come with the earrings, so that's easy. And then you're going to want a pair of jewelry pliers. The second blank we're going to make is in the more shimmery category. This is a Tumbler topper from Life. Again, these come in a bunch of different shapes. I have this sort of scalloped shape for today, but you can get other shapes if you'd like. Along with this blank, you're also probably going to want a weeding hook or something similar. It has a coating on both sides that can be a little bit difficult to remove, and a weeding hook makes it easy. Third, we are going back to the dreaded glitter mug. So if you watched my video on Michael's sublimation blanks, you'll know that this was a big fat fail for me. But I tested these projects before I made them today, messed with the settings, and I got this to sublimate beautifully. So if you were disappointed that this didn't work in the other video, you'll get the perfect time, temperature, and pressure settings to make this mug in this video. Next up in the more shimmery category is this sort of tall can. And I really like this. It's kind of an interesting blank. I hadn't seen it before. It has this nice little flip top spout, and it comes in a variety of colors. Now, when I was doing my testing, I actually made the pink version. So let me grab that here. Now, I've decided that I think for me, I just don't love colored sublimation blanks all that much. For some reason, I feel like the designs just look a little bit muddy to me. It's completely personal preference. So I do have these in a few other colors. I think I have a teal, I've got a gold, and some other colors. But for today's video, we're sticking with white just because I find that I really love how the colors pop on a white sublimation blank. And then finally, we have our standard 20-ounce tumbler. This one has that glittery surface. You can actually feel it. This is very similar to pressing any other 20-ounce tumbler. However, I really like the effect of the glitter with a all-over design, so that's what we're going to do today. Then there are a few other things you're going to want to have on hand. So I've got my heat-resistant tape. Need that for most sublimation projects. I also have my heat-resistant spray. So this particular spray no longer exists, but I will link to a similar product down in the description below. But I find this easier than using tape for things like acrylic blanks, like that Tumbler topper, my goodness, that's difficult to say, as well as the earrings. You're also going to need butcher paper. I have trimmed down my butcher paper to fit all of my projects so that you don't have to watch me do that. And then, of course, you're going to need your designs. So I do have a bundle of free designs for you today, and you can find those in my craft library. This bundle of 4 floral files, another hard thing to say, 4 floral files, can be found under S35 in my craft library. To find my craft library, go to heyletsmakestuff.com/library, and there you can request the password to log in on that page. From there, you're looking for S35, and you can find it in one of 2 ways. The first is to click the sublimation file button, and that will take you down to the sublimation section where you can find S35. The second way is to use the find function on your computer and search for S35. So Command F if you're on a Mac, Control F if you're on a PC, enter S35, and you'll be taken right to the file. Once you find the file, you can see 3 links. The first link is the download link, so click that link and it will download a zip with the PNGs for this project. The second link is the blog post for this video if you'd like to read more, and the third link is this video in case you need to go back and refer to it. Let's start with our 2 flat projects first, starting with the earrings. So I have printed out 2 sets of this design, and I have reversed one and the other. I did this so we could actually press both at the same time. So what I'm going to do is apply this spray to both sides of my earrings and then make a little sandwich. So let's grab our spray here and give a little spray here, just like this, and then I'm going to place it face down on my design here. There we go. Now I'm going to give this whole thing a little spray. Then I'm going to flip this design and put it on top. That means we can press both at the same time. Now we have a sandwich. It's not going to fall apart. For these earrings, I have my heat press set at 395 for 120 seconds. If you want to do the sides one at a time, you'll just do 60 seconds on each side, but the 120 seconds gives the heat press long enough to basically get through the earring and sublimate both sides. So 120 seconds if you're doing both sides. I'm going to pull out my drawer here. I'm going to add my butcher paper. I'm going to place my earrings right in the center, add another piece of butcher paper, and press. While that presses, let's get our next design set up. So like I said, for this tumbler topper, it has two different sides here. We have the non-printable side and we have the printable side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the coating off of the printable side first. So this is the side we're going to sublimate. And again, the weeding hook is helpful here. I don't know why this is very sticky. Came off all in one piece last time, but of course, filming a video, so it gets a little tricky. Make sure I don't have any extra pieces on there. All right. You may want to clean this with some alcohol before you get started, but I'm not going to this time. Now, this is where I really like to use spray. The tape can really create marks in acrylic when it gets hot, so spray is definitely my preference. I'm going to spray this a little bit here. Just like this. So place it down. Let's flip that over. Place it down on my design. And now I'm going to remove the other side. The reason I didn't remove it at first was because I wanted to make sure I was aware of which side was printable and which side was not, so I didn't try to sublimate the wrong side. All right, this is done. Flip it up, and I'm just going to pull it out. One other thing you might want to have on hand is heat-resistant gloves. I'm definitely going to grab those for when I do the tumblers. I forgot. But let's go ahead and press this one next. I reset my heat press 356 degrees for only 60 seconds. I also lessened the pressure in my heat press a little bit because this is a thicker blank, and you don't want to press acrylic with super heavy pressure because it will melt and actually squish. So I have sort of a light to medium pressure here on my heat press, and I'm going to wait while that cools down a little bit from the 390 that we were using for the earrings. So while we do that, we will actually finish our earrings up. So if I peel these apart here, you can see that these earrings turned out just perfectly. They are absolutely gorgeous. Now we can add our earring findings. These are actually really easy. You could probably even do these without pliers, but we're going to open up our ring here, and then we're going to feed it through the little hole at the top of the earring. We're going to add our earring finding, and then we're just going to close our little loop. So easy. Again, here we're going to open our loop, going to feed it through, add our earring finding, and close the loop. I really like this project. These are really easy to make, which means that if you're looking for something special to wear with a particular outfit, you can go and find any image and basically put it on your earrings and have them match your outfit. They also don't weigh anything. I have a really hard time with jewelry these days, especially stuff that weighs a lot. And these are, I mean, it feels almost like they're made of cardstock. So they just are very lightweight. So they're perfect if you don't want to wear anything heavy on your ears. All right, my heat press has cooled down long enough for us to press this tumbler topper. So I'm going to use that same piece of butcher paper on the bottom. I'm going to flip this over so that my design is on the top of that. I'm going to add my butcher paper back on top, and I'm going to press for 60 seconds at 356 degrees. When this comes out of the press, I'm going to set a couple heavy books on it to keep that acrylic from warping. All right, I'm just going to pull this whole thing out in one big sort of sandwich here. And then I'm going to set this stack of heavy books on top, and we're going to let that cool. The acrylic, when it gets hot, it just warps, and so this is a necessary step if you want to have any sort of flat acrylic project. All right, now let's move on to our drinkware. So we're going to start with this mug, which again was a big fail the first time I did it, but I figured out the right time, temperature, and pressure settings in my heat press to get it right. I'm going to add my design to my mug here, face in, and then we're just going to add some tape to hold it on. For this project, I have not found it necessary to tape the top and the bottom. You can if you would like, but I just did not find it necessary. I feel like the glitter blanks are a little bit more forgiving, so I didn't find it necessary, but if you want to, you can definitely do that. Then I have 2 pieces of butcher paper that I'm going to wrap around my mug here as well. This will protect my press from any ink blowing through the paper. All right, the Michaels instructions had us pressing at 365 degrees for 80 seconds. I barely got any design on here. So I bumped it up to 240 seconds, and I was pretty happy with the results. I wasn't thrilled, but I was like, wow, I'm actually getting some sublimation image on here. It was still kind of ghosting around the edges. So I decided to go for broke, and I doubled that. 480 seconds at 360 degrees with medium pressure. Yes, that is a very long press time, but I found that it gave me an absolutely beautiful transfer. So for this one, we're going to press it at 360 degrees for 480 seconds at medium pressure. Make sure your heat press is set for the right size mug when you go to put it in there. And I think we're going to get a much better result than we did when I did this the first time in the other video. All right, I think now that that's cooking, we can go ahead and check out our cup topper. So I'm going to take these off. Actually, you know what? That's still pretty warm. I'm going to leave it under there. I really don't want it to warp. Instead, we can prep the rest of our drinkware. So next up we have this glass can. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the lid and remove the straw. I really should clean this with alcohol, but guys, I'm out of alcohol. So let me grab my lint roller. I don't feel like the lint roller does such a good job on hard blanks, but we're going with it for this one. I really need to order some more alcohol. There we go. And then I have my design cut to size. For this one, we're going to use a technique that I learned from Angie Holden to help get really good edges. So to start, we're going to actually place a piece of tape along the back edge of our transfer here. So I'm going to grab a piece of tape about the same length as my transfer, and I'm going to put it right here at the edge. Then I'm going to grab my scissors and trim off any excess we don't need, like that. Now we can wrap this around our tumbler, and you can have some overlap, which is really, really a nice way to do this. So I have everything here. Let's move it up a little closer to the top, like that. Now, normally if you have an overlap, you'll find that the ink will bleed through the other piece of paper. But because we have the tape, it actually won't bleed through at all, which means that we can get this wrapped really tightly without having to just butt up the pieces of paper right next to each other. I'm going to add a few pieces of tape here. I'm going to add one straight across like that. Then I'm going to add one up and down. Now again, I did not tape the top and bottom of this. I did not find it necessary. However, it's up to you. You can totally add it if you would like. But for these, I found I didn't need it, which is a little nerve-wracking, but I think it's going to work without it. So I'm just trimming off this sort of extra tape I've got here. And once our mug is done, I will go ahead and press this one. And then finally, we have our 20-ounce tumbler, and we're going to do it in the same way. So I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to add just a nice long piece of tape across one of the edges. All right, there we go. We can cut off the excess here. And then we can, let's remove the lid. Then we can wrap this all the way around. And again, I have a little bit of overlap, but it won't bleed through because of that tape. So let's get that tightly wrapped around here. And then we'll add one just straight down our strip here. Just like that. A little extra here. Perfect. Now again, I didn't tape the top and bottom of this, which for me is kind of crazy because I tend to want to tape those. But I feel like the glitter is just more forgiving than a solid white surface. And with a design like this, which has a lot of variation to it, if there is a little bit of ghosting at the bottom, you're probably not going to notice it. All right, I think our tumbler topper, which is a mouthful, is cool enough. So let's take a look at how that turned out. Peel it back just like that. And it turned out just perfectly. So basically the design is supposed to sort of be in the back and you can kind of see through it. It is a little more vibrant on the other side, but I mean, it's a clear blank. So you are going to expect to see just something that's not quite as vivid as an opaque surface. But overall, I think this is really cute. When I do set it in my Stanley cup, it becomes much brighter because the lid of my Stanley cup is white. So you can see here it's not super bright, but then you put it over the white and it becomes very bright. But yeah, I really, really like this blank. All right, so we're going to open up our press here, and this is really hot. So I would recommend, even though this has a handle, still using your heat-resistant gloves, just because it's been sitting in there for 480 seconds and it has time to heat the handle a little bit. You don't want to burn yourself. And now we can press our final two blanks. These are much faster. They're 120 seconds each at 365, and then halfway through, so at 60 seconds through, I'm going to rotate them. I did forget to put the butcher paper on, so we do need to do that. So let me grab my little pre-cut butcher paper here. Just going to tape this on. So big piece of tape, Corey, just like this and just like this. I am also going to have to reset my heat press just a little bit to make it so that it's a little bit smaller because the circumference of these two is smaller than the mug. But other than that, I'm just going to press them exactly the same, 365 degrees for 120 seconds, rotating halfway through. All right, I'm going to press that 20-ounce tumbler first. So let's get it in there and we'll press. All right, we're about halfway through, so we're going to flip it. Just like that. All right, let's pull this one out and we'll put this one in. There we go. That felt better. And while that last one cooks, let's look at our mug here. So go ahead and pull this off. I like using a weeding hook to get that tape off. I feel like sometimes it's just easier. It's still pretty darn hot right out of the oven. All right, tape off. Okay, let's see how it turned out. Amazing. I mean, if you remember the other video, this looks so much better. Oh my gosh, it looks really, really good. Okay, this one is still extremely hot, but we're gonna do it anyway. Get this off. Open this up, rotate this one while I'm thinking about it. All right, and then we can pull the tape off here. Hot. This one is toasty. All right, pull that off. And you can see it turned out so good. And that trick from Angie is just brilliant. You can really see that it doesn't leave any sort of white line or weird overlap. The bottom looks really good, even though I didn't tape it. The top as well. Really happy with this project. All right, and our final cup is done. Very hot. Let's see if I can undo the tape here. Burned myself. Holy moly. Very hot. Don't burn yourself. So I'm just too lazy to wait. So here we go. All right. And again, this looks absolutely amazing. I like this more in the white. Our seam looks really good. And overall, the color is just brilliant. And there you have it. We have our 5 glitter projects. So again, we started with these earrings, which I really love. We moved on to this tumbler topper, super cute, really maybe great gift idea or for great idea for like small shops. We have our mug, which is 1,000,000% better than the last time I tried this. We have our 20-ounce glitter tumbler here, which turned out perfectly. And this one, which is so stinking hot, this can here that also turned out really beautifully. Overall, I am thrilled with all 5 of these blanks and would recommend them without hesitation. If you found this video for making glitter blanks helpful, of course, I would appreciate a like. Leave any questions you might have down in the comments. Follow my channel for more sublimation, Cricut, and laser content. I'll see you next time.